Let me say a special good morning. Those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Those of you viewing via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning. Let me say good morning also to our social media audience. Those of you via, of course, Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning. Those of you via GBN's webpage, gbn.gd, good morning and welcome. I'm your host, GT, with you this morning here on To The Point. It's the Wednesday edition of To The Point. Today being Wednesday, the 18th day of September. And with me this morning, representing the Ministry of Youth and Sport, we have, of course, let's say ladies first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me say good morning to Miss Carlene Perryman this morning. She's the youth, is it the coordinator of youth, if I get that right?
Yes, coordinator of youth, acting.
Okay. Acting coordinator of youth. And we have also Mr. Kerlon Peters with us this morning. He's the coordinator of sports. Let me say good morning to both of you and welcome back. I should say welcome back. I had you a couple of months ago.
Yes, you did.
And nice to have you back once again. How's everybody doing this morning?
I am well. Good morning to you and good morning to your listening audience. It's a pleasure to be here and I am doing well.
I could practically see that.
I'm doing good this morning. I'm happy to be here, happy to be alive, wake up with full spirit to function to the best of my ability.
It's the way to go.
Outside is warm and nice and I'm ready to go.
You saying it's warm and nice, right? There may be individuals may having a different opinion when it comes to how outside feels. There are folks may not have anything to do with outside at this time of the morning. Anyway, let's kick off our conversation this morning. We have a lot to talk about in terms of what's going on in the Ministry of Youth and Sport. And of course, Mr. Peters will talk more of the sports side of things, what's going on with sports in Grenada as a whole. And of course, this Perryman will talk a whole lot about, of course, what's going on in terms of the youth part of what's in youth in Grenada in general, what's taking place. Let's kick the conversation off this morning in terms of what's taking place within the Ministry of Youth and Sport, in terms of what some of the major activities. Maybe you could just highlight some of them, then we get into details in terms of what you may highlight as we go along. So let's kick it off with youth this morning.
All right. So the first thing that I would want to highlight would be the launch of our Empower program. We had that on the 13th, last Friday. And if you tuned in to GIS and you saw the magnitude and the number of men, we had over 461 young men registering. Yeah. So at the youth center, we had about 400 young men there. And it was just a marvelous sight to see all these young men there looking for opportunities to better themselves, upskill themselves, etc. So we're definitely excited about the Empower program. We have the second phase of our Youth Parliament program coming on stream that we're excited to talk about, our national youth election. And we have our project, our community leadership workshop coming on in the next couple weeks as well. And I would also like to say, I did not mention this to you, but we do have our cohort for the next 2 years of our national youth ambassadors.
Okay. Let's get a little bit in the Empower 4.0, because of course it's what you kicked off on this morning and it's a bit more current, we could say. Yes. For now. What were some of the key highlights that came out of that particular Empower launch, Empower 4.0 launch, if I could say that?
All right. So on the day, we had a number of activities. First, we started off with orienting the guys, and because our main purpose for this particular program is not just get them to register and get them to the launch, but to ensure that they graduate and they graduate successfully. Later on, we had the launch. At the launch, we had a number of our ministers present who would have They gave various remarks. In the afternoon, we had a men's talk where we had some keynote speakers from that of Dr. Martin and Dr. Chaitan. We also had our Prime Minister there as well. So it was a remarkable day. Now, as I said, 461 men gathered in one room. And what that means is that the program has a number of phases. The first phase, we had the launch. Next Monday on the 23rd, they will be starting their core component. This core component is going to take them through a number of life skill sessions for the next 2 months. Every day from about 4 to 6, we have some experience and wonderful facilitators in each constituency because we wanted to make sure that it's not oversubscribed, that the guys can have attention, etc. So we thought that constituency would be a best way to break it up, and that is what the program has always had. So each constituency is going to have a different constituencies have different numbers of facilitators though, because some of them are more subscribed than others. But we're trying to aim for about 20-25 persons max facilitator, and they'll go through this series of life skills, talking about things like men and your community, the responsibility of a man, financial management, entrepreneurship skills, how to be a part of your community. They have community projects. They have a number of different things that they have to engage in within those 2 months. It's basically to uplift them, to get them to understand their role as young men in their various communities and their various spaces. Following that, they will then go into their director certification skill areas. This they would have chosen on their own, so they get to decide what it is that they want to do, whether it's carpentry, whether it's plumbing, whatever it is that they want to do. Once we have a cohort, once we are able to get the facilitators and the facilities based on directives from our partners like GNT and Grand Case, etc., we're going to engage them in this particular course. That is going to last about 10 months. A part of that is apprenticeship as well, so they'll get on the site experiences, etc., and it will end with graduation and the grant disbursement. They will all get access to a grant. That grant would allow them to then pour into themselves, whether it's through entrepreneurship, if they already have a business, if they want to start a business, if they want to upskill themselves further, etc., they will get an grant to support that.
Okay. What would be the key factors in this particular Empower program this time around?
The key factors
in terms of when these young men go through the entire process of the program, what will be catering for them in terms of their achievements? What will be the key out? What will be the key out of this?
So what we're looking for transformation in the guys themselves. We're looking for the guys to be able to find employment, valuable employment. We're looking for them to now be role models within their communities, for them to be positive influence on other young men within their communities. And I'm not just talking about the geographical communities, but with their families. With some of them are dads, some of them they are brothers, sons, etc. So we want them to be key pillars within that community to uplift themselves. So the fact is we're looking to empower these young men, as the program says, empower them for better, and also to ensure that they can contribute to sustainable livelihood. So we're upskilling them so that they can now use those skills that they have either to find employment, and oftentimes what we see is that based on the apprenticeship side of it, they're often kept in that space. So we're hoping that we can get a number of them to stay on in their apprenticeship. Where they be an apprentice, they can stay there for permanent engagement. If not, as I said, we have the grant component as well, where some of them can go into their own entrepreneurship, create their businesses, etc., using that grant as a startup for that. We do offer support in terms of mentorship. Each cohort or each group has a mentor that basically holds their hand throughout the entire process, and even after, when we have job opportunities that come through us from different partners, different stakeholders, we would send it out to them within the group chats that we have. So just to take them and to ensure that they are able to empower themselves even after the program. We try to hold their hands until they get to a space where they're comfortable to walk on their own.
Because it's one of the concerns I always have. We hear of these programs happen from time to time over the years, and then young men get involved, and their participation seems to be really good at the onset, and then the program ends, and then we see them fade, and then we hear nothing about it in terms of what they're doing. So if this time around you're hoping that, of course, the ministry as a whole is encouraged that these young men will be totally always encouraged and continue to participate in ways that will keep them, as you said, in a transformative way.
Yes.
Great. So Peter, I know you've been listening, of course, keenly, of course, and
it's
pertaining to youth. Let's hear what's going on in terms of the Ministry of Sports, in terms of you being the sports coordinator. I know after this term in school, there's a lot of sporting activity coming wrong in the next term, but they say sports never stops, right?
Yeah, but you're some bias there, because people will say there are a lot of activity happening now.
Well, there is no.
Well, I know you're looking at January track and field and intercall
but sport, as I mentioned, sport is ongoing. Activity taking place here.
I'm just feeling
So tell us what's going on.
Okay, let me take the opportunity to say morning to all your viewers and listeners, and say that I'm very happy happy to be here, and I'm representing the Ministry of Sports. As the coordinator of sports, I must say, on behalf of the Ministry, Government of Grenada, looking at the news, we want to say congratulations to Dr. Kerlene James. He among 13 individuals from across the Caribbean that receive honorary doctorate from the University of the West Indies. They make that contribution to outstanding contributor within the region. So you have persons for culture for different countries, culture, sports that have an impact on this individual sports. So congratulations to Dr. Kerlene James for
something in order.
We also want to congratulate him and say how proud he is. He saw that he performed well at the Diamond League in the final. He placed second in the 400 meters, continue a good performance. He's a sample. He's somebody we want to at least look upon. We know his history. We have seen him growing up through here, from primary school to secondary school to training in golf. So it's he give the athletes hope, and that we have the potential here to not only to win 4 medals, 3 medals for the Olympics, but also to come back the Diamond Leagues, and also so it's really, really, really good to see what his life story is, one that to be recorded. We also want to take the opportunity to say show appreciation to Anderson Peters.
Yes.
And I want to highlight his coach, to Mr. Paul Phillip. They went out there in the same Diamond League finals and won in the javelin with a massive throw of 87.87 meters, beating the whole fleet, and he have been on a winning streak. Actually, right now they are sitting and saying, I wonder where the next competition is next week, so I can beat them guys again.
They just keep
it shows
going,
it shows sustainability in sports, because I told somebody yesterday, you don't start now. You start 20 years ago. You start 25 years ago. You start way back with the consistency. So we have to make sure that with my stint here now, that I make sure that we lay that foundation and that base. So for the next 20 years, the next 10 years, we have that more and better performance at the international and regional level.
Yeah.
And just
these individuals also offer the encouragement for the younger folks.
For the younger folks, yeah.
Looking at them and their performance, make them want to, of course, achieve those levels themselves.
Yeah. I want to highlight this one too. We have issues expansion in sports. We talk about the traditional, the track and field and the football and thing, but we look at we have a team in Belapisi in Hungary in the Chess Olympics. I must say I was at the launch of their association a couple months ago, and I know of the training. And it shows that we are preparing not only for one part in sports, we are also preparing to help and to support through the government all the sports so that they could reach, as far as they could. We received the Paralympic team last 2 weeks, and that was also a wonderful activity and to show appreciation. So sports is, and I really look at, we have a lot to be grateful for. Sometimes we look at the negative, we say that the feel in the stadium
is overpowered the whole lot by the positive.
Yeah, but we have a lot to be very happy for. We also last week we had the CONCACAF Nation League taking place right here in our country at the National Stadium with the teams, and we saw Grenada qualifying to go on to the second round of that. So we want to, on behalf of the government and the Ministry of Sports, want to congratulate all the teams, all the individuals. I want to pledge our continuous support to the growth and development of the sports as we prepare for our next budget cycle. We are putting a lot of emphasis on community development through our Parish Sports Council grassroots program. We want to work on it based so that we can sustain that growth for many, many years to come. So we want to put a lot of emphasis on grassroots development and community program, and also to help to upgrade some of our fields, to make sure that they reach on they meet that standard. As I am saying that, I know that we are preparing now to do some work at the National Kerlene James Stadium at the inner field, to do the resurfacing of the grass and everything, so that it could, we kind of try to correct that mistake that we have from the past.
All right.
At the ministry now, we are preparing for competition. Some of our competition already started. I'm very happy to see that we started very early. That shows that the schools and the parents and the coaches and everyone understand the importance of starting early, so that all the sports discipline could get a fair part to have the competition within the school. Last year we get the feedback from unable to accomplish that because of the late start and through the settle down of certain schools. We had started the first time with the Star Mall Secondary School Football Competition. We want to say thanks to the Grenada Breweries the Caribbean Blues have been on board with us under the Brand Star mod for another year of sponsorship for the secondary school football competition.
All right.
We started at Progress Park last Friday with the champion of champion. Boca came up against McDonald College, and that was a clash. That was a clash. He went down to penalty kicks. You should see the support. When you start like that, I know it's a big thing right to the competition, right to the season. So that started. Boca won on penalty kicks at the end. And right now we're in the stage, in the Super 8 knockout stage now, and then we'll go on to the League of the Star Mod secondary school football competition. When you look at the level of football from the start with the 2 games, you could see that the standard have really improved this year. The players have been, I must say, heads up to GFE for all the under 13 or under 14 or under 17 competition. They've been running through the year. He helped the athletes, he helped the players, and they could see the growth of football. We also started this Saturday last Saturday at SAS Playing Field with the Bubbles cross country.
Yeah.
Bubbles, that's the second year sponsoring a part sponsorship with the Ministry of Sports for the cross country. We had a record turnout in the start of the cross country with over 149 students competing at the start. We never had that number. We had that at the end, but not at the start. We went to Progress Park, Dunfermline, pause airport, come back Paradise and back. And it was a wonder. What was happy to see as we see our plan this year to highlight grassroots. We have seen a lot of primary schools came out to run in that competition more than the secondary school. Okay. So it shows the interest is there. So this Saturday we're going to be at La Sagesse. We start at 3 p.m. and transportation is provided from Grenville, from St. Patrick, from Guelph Gas Station, from the stadium in St. George to La Sagesse. All the buses leave at 1 p.m. and we reach there. Right. So it's so we are excited. I'm excited to see the football start. The football take up a big part of the term. I know the challenges. We are trying to see if we could start running some competition games on a Saturday to to help reduce some of the time. The time the football league will run, and give the spectators and give the stakeholders and the parents everybody the opportunity to come out and see the football. So our hope is sooner we have to implement it basically, because we want to imagine we're running about 3 games on a Saturday in 3 different venues. It will help to cut down on some of the days that the students leave school for football. Okay. So if you have 3 days of competition, maybe you might leave school 1 day, and on Saturday you play a game, and it kind of help to cover the competition. So we are looking at that.
Okay. So we drew for a break. Let's take it. We have something a whole lot more to talk about. We take a break and come back. To our listeners and viewers, stick around, folks. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
As GBN brings you the thrilling coverage of this year's Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, please note there will be some adjustments to our regular programming lineup. From Tuesday, September 17th to Friday, September 20th, transitions will be at 5:05 p.m. GBN television news will air at 6 p.m., followed by a repeat right after the CPL match. And don't miss the rebroadcast of transitions after the news repeat. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere with the best in sports coverage. Stay tuned and stay informed with GBN.
The Grenada Motor Club will be hosting its second and final international drag racing event for 2024 at Perth International Speedway on September 28th and 29th. Expect the fastest set of drag cars and bikes the Caribbean has to offer. September 27th, meet and greet at Lavo Lanes. September 28th, test and tune bracket race qualifiers. And after drags, chill out at Sizzle Bar and Lounge. September 29th, drag race finals at Perth International Speedway. There will be a special guest appearance by one of the Caribbean's top drag racers and a special drift performance by one of the Caribbean's top drifter. Mark the dates, September 28th and 29th at Perth International Speedway is the place to be. You don't want to miss this one.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, take it outside, guys.
Are you excited to see your brother?
Billy forgot his keys again.
I'll get it.
Ben, we're here this afternoon to inform you that Billy's been involved in a motor vehicle collision and he has since passed.
Distracted driving is a deadly decision.
Welcome back, of course, to our listeners and viewers once again to the point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Let me welcome back to my guests. We want to continue, of course, with Mr. Peters, of course, on the level he was speaking about in terms of the calendar of events. You want to go back into some of the events that will seem to be a lot on the calendar, we could say that. So let's continue with those events that are coming up.
Well, one I want to highlight here, because we always hear that the primary school, most time they call us the primary school being left out. We had the primary school cricket festival scheduled. The primary school cricket festival is scheduled for this Friday at Progress Park. The competition had started last term, and we were able, due to activities, to complete the final of that cricket. Our cricket coach is Shoai George in the ministry, and I know they have been working with the team and his team to make sure. So this Friday, we at Progress Park for 10 o'clock a.m. for the finals of the primary school cricket festival. We also, during this term, we have the netball will come up in October. We also have the basketball that will be in November. And we want to put some emphasis this year, as I said, on grassroots program. We want to see how we could collaborate with the GUT to have a national primary school football competition. Most time GUT over the years been running that competition, but you want to see if we could make it a little more, put some more into it this year with some support. But the cricket, as I said, the final is this Friday at Progress Park, and we're looking forward to that. Right. So a lot of competition, the schedule will be out. We must see asking on the supporters, your availability time. Most of the games at 3 p.m. you come out. As I say, we're trying to have some competition games on Saturday, so you'll know about it through advertisement, and we're trying to make sure that all the sports get the opportunity as we collaborate with stakeholders and association to make sure that the competition is a success.
All right. Now, coordinating all of this particular event, what are some of the challenges that you face?
Well, most of the events, most of the division, they have the senior coach working with them. Yeah. So we definitely the challenges I face basically is sometimes is dissemination of information in a timely motion with the education and the schools. Yeah. Once that happened, then getting all the officials in the different venues to make sure that they're on time. What I've noticed, especially in the football, which I want to highlight here, is the level of aggressiveness that I'm seeing for the first couple games. I think we definitely have to have some meetings with maybe with education and maybe principals association to make sure that we haven't by start some of the display of sportsmanship conduct you have seen. I don't want us to start like that. Okay. So some of the discipline, we really need to see how we could cause some of the disciplinary problem that I've noticed for the first couple of games in the football. We need to stop that. So the challenges are getting, having the school become more competitive. As it become more competitive and arrival among school, it become a little more aggressive. Yes. Because they come on, the sports is not about fun anymore. It comes for bragging rights. It's not about development. If you see it come on, so you're seeing some of the behavior, and you're seeing that the supporters on both of the bench are not calling the teams together and saying let's settle down. Yeah. Let's settle down. I've been to the knockout, and I have to call the referees after halftime and say, listen to me, we can't continue that way. If you have a problem, so we must put some rules and regulation going forward in our games. I'm basically we're suggesting if you see a guy get two red card in a game, 2 different games, he must by now we should be able to send him to a counselor. Go back, go to a counselor and get right off before you come back to play, because there is some problems that we need. Because the problem is that when you hear about problem in community and problem in not only go through delinquent behavior in community, you follow in the sport. The respect of authority, we need to implement that. And in the sports, we must try to correct it in the sport. So we have to come at a stage, if we have to sustain that growth we are seeing there and make sure that growth is in a disciplinary way, we have to start taking some measures of correcting and identifying some of the persons with the behavior and sending them to persons within our ministries that are responsible for that to have little counseling with them. Yeah. That happened before, but we have to start looking at this stage, not only then guys looking at somehow we could stop some of the problem. Because there is definitely, for what I've seen in the first game, there is some matters that need to be addressed. Yeah. Because you have to
dealt with in the early
and deal with it and make sure that the individual get counseling before they could sign on to say to come on. Because you always move on. Because I was before I was in the ministry, I was in GBSS as a coach for 7 years, and some of the display you see in the P program, I'll send them to Mr. Ashby. And then we have a discussion fully before they could come. And some of the guys, if they don't accept the decision, then you will sit after them and hear about them after in the after-school fight. Yeah. It's the same persons. Discipline is discipline no matter which aspect of it. But sitting there and have to call the police, every sporting activity we have is not a good sign. I have to notify the police station in Glenville that we have a football game.
That shouldn't be.
Or we're having a game this weekend, we are somewhere. Are we having a basketball on the court? That shouldn't be. It shows that we need to sit and discuss ways in which we could cover that at that level. We need to address it. We need to prevent it and swing it. So the sports is going, as I say, get more competitive in school. As you get more competitive and the prices go up and the money is a little more, I don't think that is the problem. But we need to see a way of covering some of the behavior from there. Right. A matter of fact, if you look at it, because you may say why I'm addressing that, because my history and thing, I was a nurse assistant, so I used to work in Mongay. Yeah. I go to the nursing thing. So I've seen some of the behaviors. And what I'm saying, and we need to address now with some of the problem we are saying from in primary school, we should start recommending you to a counselor. And that is how we should address it in our sport. From that level.
Sometimes these problems are seen in the early stages.
And we let it
go. And then we see these individuals grows up, become men and women in society, and the same problem that from at the early stage.
Because we have to reach this stage where we say that you're a principal, you're on the bench. My boys are using obscene language on the field. I could pull them together and say, listen to you guys cannot continue like that. And I don't think we're addressing it like that. You should be, that level of control I've seen last. But we could look at it, as I say, as a level of competitiveness. But instead, we have to, school is for education, basically. And when you come out to play football, you come out to represent school, you come out for education. It's just an extension of the school on the playing field. And if that discipline have not been, so it's good that I wanted to bring up that all enough.
Okay.
So then any part we could able to address it and don't wait until something, because we see the problem last year in the final of the same football with the amount of weapons and that was
confiscated
at the gate.
Yes.
So we have to address some of the issues and such. I'm also disappointed that we haven't reached out as far enough maybe to get Carrico involved. Because I know sports is a part of the holistic psychological development.
Yes.
And we are trying our best to see how we could start getting them back out there, because sports covers some of the problem. You got to find some way of burning some of the energy out.
Yeah.
And sports is easy. Sports are some of the ways. So
great. We will come back and talk some more. I know you have much more to tell me in terms of the school competition and so forth. We have to speak a wee bit about that. Let's come back, of course, to Ms. Perryman, of course, and speak to a wee bit. We started off talking about the Empower program, the launch and so forth. Now there's the, of course, youth parliament and so forth that takes place. Tell us a wee bit about that. There's the election cycle and stuff that is coming up. Tell us about that as we move on.
All right. So before I move on to youth parliament, I just wanted to mention that the Empower program will also be launched in the prison. Okay. We have a cohort of about 25 young men that will be launched next week. Please God. Then we're also waiting for Carrico as well when they are at a better place so that they can launch their aspect of the Empower program. Now, moving on to the National Youth Parliament. Now, this year, the National Youth Parliament is a phased approach. Prior, it was parish youth parliament, and then you go into the National Youth Parliament debates, etc. this year, what we have done is that we had National Youth Parliament. We had it in all parishes except Carriacou and Petit Martinique because of Hurricane Beryl, as we know. In each parish, we had a process whereby we had judges, external judges, etc., where they would have judged for the top speakers, speakers. Now, these speakers are now going to be our candidates for our national youth election. We have opted this year that our national youth parliament should not just be a debating practice and exercise in debate, but one that has some more value. Our national youth parliamentarians are actually going to be minor parliamentarians, for want of a better term. They're going to be following a system similar to that of the actual House of Parliament. So they're going to go through a process of election, campaigning and election. Right now we have over 20 young persons who are actively training to present themselves to the public within the next couple of weeks, where they're going to be running for their seat in the lower house to represent young people within their constituency. All right. So in each constituency we have from 2 to 3 candidates, and they will be campaigning for over a month, right? We have registration, which is ongoing. It was launched early this week. We were asking that everybody between the ages of 16 to 35, once you're Grenadian national, to go onto our website at youthelections.gov.gd and register to vote. Now, what does that mean? Our young people are going to be engaged in the electoral process to decide who is going to represent them at the National Youth Parliament. These candidates and these MPs, they are going to now take the issues from within their constituencies and they are going to bring it to the House to debate. Okay. They are going to be called into the House of Parliament to debate on issues by the request of the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House is going to call them based on actual bills that are going to be passed by our actual parliamentarians, and when they want a youth voice on it, they want a youth take, these parliamentarians are going to come and they're going to debate on these particular issues, and they're going to add their voice from what it is that their constituents are asking them to speak on based on the bill, so that our actual parliamentarians can take it and decide on their policy objectives. They're going to present their notes, they're going to present everything to the Parliament, the Speaker of the House, the Parliament office, and they're going to take it to the represented MPs.
Right. Interesting approach this year.
Yes.
Interesting approach.
Yes. Our candidates would also have access to grant funding so that they can do work within their communities. So let's say there's an issue of bullying, there's an issue of drug use, etc. They can now come present a concept note to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and we are going to go through that and we are going to fund whatever project it is that they have up to a certain threshold so that they can actually do work within their communities. The idea and the premise behind this is that we do not want our young people to be used as tokens. We do not just want to call them when we want them to have a voice, etc. We want them to actually develop their leadership skills, and to do so, they have to do so within their communities. We want our young people to have an actual voice. And I must say that this program is one that is, or this revamping of the Youth Parliament program is new to Grenada, and it's also new to most, if not all, the islands within the English-speaking Caribbean. Right. Yeah, so it's something that we're excited about. We're looking to tear it even further within the upcoming years, where we're going to introduce the Senate, etc. So we're really excited, and our candidates are really excited. So what I'm going to ask the general public is, especially if you're between the ages of 16 to 35, is to offer your support to these candidates when they come out and they're campaigning, to go onto our website, youthelections.gov.gd, register to vote, because this is where your power comes from when you decide who your representative is going to be on that particular platform.
Right. Yeah? And the registration process, I'm assuming, takes us online. The voting process will be taken place online also?
Yes, the voting process will also take place online. The registration process, it must begin with the registration process where you get your unique IDs, etc. You do have have to upload certain things like a national ID. If you do not have a national ID in the form of NIS card, voter's ID, passport, your birth certificate, and a picture. So because we're going to be cross-referencing everything, and once we do that, you're going to be emailed with your code that you're going to be using for the national election, which is going to be sometime in November, December.
Right.
Yes.
The approach this year around, what encouraged it a wee bit, if I could ask that?
Young people.
Yeah.
They've been clamoring for it. They've been asking for some more value within the program. I think a lot of when we engage some of our national youth parliamentarians in the past, they wanted more. They did not just want to come and debate on issues, especially issues that, have been beaten, have been discussed over and over, etc. They wanted to have added value to policy making, to decision making within the country, and we felt that this was one of the way, after we consulted with them, that the approach that we should take. We also want to empower them to do work within our communities. We want, when there's an actual next election, etc., we have a cohort of persons who are trained in the process, are trained in parliamentary style debate, are trained in serving their communities, training governance, etc., so that when it is time to accept the actual call, they are prepared. And this is where we're going to start.
Have a bit of a full knowledge of the process already. All right. Interesting to note. We're due for a break. Let's take it again, and we come back and we should chat some more. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We coming right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
It's the event you won't want to miss. GIDC Business Deals Day is happening on Saturday, October 12th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Frequency Industrial Park playing field. Explore the latest products and service offerings from businesses within the industrial parks. Enjoy discounts on GIDC business support services and get fantastic deals on household items, building materials, accessories, condiments, and more, with exciting prizes up for grabs throughout the day. But that's not all. Dive into a mini health fair and career expo for valuable health, education, and employment opportunities, all while enjoying the songs of Trio the Band and DJ Graphic Sounds. It will be a fun-filled day filled with eats, drinks, games, deals, and more. Mark your calendars and join the GIDC at Frequency Industrial Park playing field on Saturday, October 12th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. See you there.
As GBN brings you the thrilling coverage of this year's Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, please note there will be some adjustments to our regular programming lineup. From Tuesday, September 17th to Friday, September 20th, transitions will be at 5:05 p.m. GBN Television News will air at 6 p.m., followed by a repeat right after the CPL match. And don't miss the rebroadcast of transitions after the news repeat. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere with the best in sports coverage. Stay tuned and stay informed with GBN.
Welcome back once again to listeners and viewers. Good morning to you. Those of you by our social media platforms, once again, good morning and welcome back. Let's kick this segment off, and of course, Mr. Peters, once again. A few months ago, we heard about the sports policy and so forth. Share some information on that again. Maybe you don't want to get too in depth with it this morning, but the process where we act with it now.
Well, I know most of the sports policy, the secretariat, which led by Mr. Alvin Clouden, have been working very hard to make sure that we on stream. Right now, we are preparing for the launch in October of the sports policy, the sports council. That means that the whole executive will be, full in fully implemented with all the stakeholders. So that's a big thing. The launch is key, and they will have their own office, have the budget to run. They already had election for the parish post council, so each parish have the chairman, they have the assistant chairman, other executive members. They plan workshop that will be done next week for each parish, including Carriacou. I don't want to make sure you know that Carriacou is there. Yeah, and I'm excited about the sports policy and the councils because most of what we're trying to promote, we have to promote it through the parish post council. Each parish, even though will have an office, and they will be responsible for the structural development of sports within the parish. So some of the grassroots program we want to implement, it won't be like it'll be decentralized. Each parish will be responsible with a budget and equipment and a staff to run that program. So I think that will solve some of our problem and will help some of the parish that does not have active program going on to get involved, because if you look at Tantin on evening, you'll see many activities happening. You may go in other venues and see nothing happening. So the parish post council will be responsible for all the developmental program and the way we structure sports and the way funds are distributed, even the upgrade of the fields within the parish. So I see that as a major improvement for sports. That will help with the sustainability of sports and will help with the efficiency of the management and running of sports in Grenada.
All right.
So after the council launch in October, we'll get more information, and then we'll start seeing some more funds going to the community, some more programs going to the parish where directly from the parish council.
All right. How do you see the overall, of course, the sports policy, the overall development of sports in general? Do you see that will be causing a major improvement in the overall development of sports in general?
Well, I've been in sports over 25 years and counting and more. And what some of the problem that we see is a structural growth for sports. We have seen different areas improving sports. We have seen different association being given X amount, and some association have gone under. I think what is sports policy and the sports council will give a balance to the way funds are distributed and give the different association and a support to grow the sport. Because we talk about chess and in Hungary for our team, and there are many other sports that need the support through funding, grant writing, through organization, through empowerment that will help. And we want to, how I see it, it'll help directly because you in the parish will be able to identify your talent. We'll be able to see the growth of the person, and we'll be able to give them the resources and support that is necessary. I believe
teams and groupings that individual attention
that is needed. It's not one and somebody calling somebody in ministry and say that, and we see that athlete in St. Patrick's as a good cricketer. How can we support him? May hear that somewhere else, but you in St. Patrick as the sports council see that person, be able to make a recommendation and speak on the behalf of him. I think you will get better support. So I believe you'll help give a structural and an even distribution to funding and the opportunity available for the growth in sports. I think that's a good. And the way in which sports are growing now, I speak about cross country and the large amount. I speak about football and the excitement and everything that's happening. Talk about primary school this Friday. I think we need the management structure must change within the ministry to manage our effectiveness and efficiency and growth of sports in Grenada, what we are seeing now.
All right. From your personal perspective, sports in general in Grenada, how you feel about sports in Grenada from your personal perspective, the growth that we have, if there's much more that could be achieved from your personal perspective?
I believe that there is a lot more that can be achieved. I believe we have to, maybe I started as a coach at 18 years old, and I believe that we have to promote what we are doing, and we have to show that we, through government and through other association, that we appreciate what persons are doing for the growth of the sport, because the sport only starts when Linda and Victor and Anderson and win a medal. It starts with somebody coming out there every evening and going out and making a sacrifice and helping develop that talent at the primary school, at the secondary school, and then you see them up there now. And then, so sports have moved a long way. It moved a long way, It moved a long way, and it will continue to grow. I think we have set a path now where the growth is inevitable. No one can stop it now. The kids will come out, and they will come out and they want, but we have to try to manage and organize and do it fair with our coaches and give the coaches support and make them know that they, like I speak about Paul Philip when I speak about Anderson, I don't just do it just so because I want to show that the appreciation we have that for the coaches too.
And you know the process that they've been through.
And I know the process because I've been through the process. And so all the young coaches that are coming up, we have to start not bypassing them and going to the athlete. We have to get the coaches involved. I see Mr. Lee Coffey now is doing the ICCP coaching certification in Delaware. I did that before. And he's in Penn State University doing the apprenticeship.
Yes.
And he comes from the U.S. Olympic Center. These courses, we have to take advantage of these courses. There are about 4 of us here in Grenada that do their courses. But within a period, the courses have been run more than 10 times. So we must take advantage of the persons that are available and give the coaches that experience. And that's how they come back and make the contribution. So we have to go there and look for the opportunity. And then we have to make sure that no matter which parish you're from, that you can get the opportunity to grow within that sport. So we have to look at the human aspect of sports now, because the students is coming out, but we are the coaches. We got to get the coaches motivated and give them the support and have some structure in a way that they do it. So I believe that the sports council will do that, because they will take up, because your funding from the ministry will limit it basically on having coach. I think the sports council will take up some of the, through the parish, will take up some of the coaches, give them the support through stipend and what is available for the good, and you will see them coming out more there and that direct management system within the parish.
What's your take on great incentive packages being offered also? I mean, incentive plays an important role in any development of any sports these days. Around the world, the incentive that are offered will spur individual to want to participate. A lot of folks say, I take it back and I feel there's nothing in it for me. Well, even though individuals are good at it sometimes. But sometimes the incentive package always seems to be the one that inspires you more to do whatever you got to do. You understand?
Listen to me. The incentives are great. I think right now we have seen what the athletes receiving from competing at any Olympic game, from just the selection. You have been rewarded. The coaches have been rewarded. And we look at those that were under, it's a policy.
Yeah.
So is that what we've been asking for years? Basically, if I win an Olympic medal, what would I be getting? Yeah. And I think this year shows that so you know what you will be with it. From all the response that I've seen and everything, it's helped. That what the athletes are coming out, and the coaches know what are in the package for them. So we need now to just continue and support it. I can remember an athlete telling me, he said, Mr. Peters, I heard we getting money, but unless I see that check, tell your mind I ain't being happy about it. But look at the announce. He said, no, they always announcing it, but I never, happy to see that everybody have gotten the money by now.
All right. I mean, it's always, it's not always about the money. It's always about the money.
But it's a key
component of the,
because when you look what the athletes go through, and you sometimes you see the letters and you see the requests from the ministry, and it's it's heartwarming them. But sometimes we definitely the resources in Grenada is scarce.
So true.
And some countries they have more resources that they could meet the athlete.
Yeah.
But then we have seen the importance. You look at and the performance of the athlete. And we must say hats off to them and hats off to the support. So I'm supporting the growth. I believe in the growth. I'm happy to be the coordinator of sports in this area.
Right.
I'm happy to see Anderson and all the artists, the swimmers, and everybody go out and thing. So when I do reach time for retirement, I could sit and say I did play an integral part. Yeah. I could sit down and boast for myself and say I was the PE teacher at the GBSS when we started.
Understandably so. All right. Let's go to Ms. Perryman once again. We spoke a whole lot this morning. You talk about the employment program. You talk about the launch of the youth parliament. Of course, the elections that will be coming around. No, there's another interesting aspect coming up. Sometimes I think I'm missing it. It's the leadership workshop that soon to be. Is it to be launched or how would we go at it?
It's a 2-day workshop, it's a project more so than a program. Mm-hmm. So it's a 2-day executive leadership workshop. Now, this workshop is geared for youth-led community organization. Now, at the ministry, we understand that youth development and youth empowerment needs to be a nation thing. Youth is everywhere. It cannot be in silo. Everybody has a responsibility for youth development. And what it is that we want to do with this particular project is to empower community-led organizations to be able to do their work within the community and to offer them some support. So this 2-day workshop, it begins on October 12th to 13th. There'll be one at the Grenada Youth Center, and then on the 9th to the 10th November, we have one at St. Martin Retreat Center that is at Mount St. Irvins in St. Andrew. So the idea is we split it so that persons who are closer to St. George, they can get to that particular training, and then those who are closer to St. Andrew, they can access that training there. Now, it's a weekend, so we are going to be offering transportation and meals, snacks, everything throughout the day. So we're taking you to the event and back each day. Now, at the program, at this particular project, our young persons, they will be engaged in activities such as learning about project management and how to develop their various projects that they are going to be undertaking within their communities, effective leadership, communication and marketing, professional development, financial management, etc. The idea is to empower the executive core of these particular community-based youth groups, so that they can now go out, as I said before, do better work within their community, do it from a place of knowledge and not just a place of passion. I remember that when I was involved in group work, community work, a lot of the things that we did was from a place of passion, so we learned as we go. But we want to offer our present community youth-led organizations an opportunity to not just rely on passion, but rely on theoretical knowledge as well, and to give them the training that they want. At this particular project, we will also be unleashing our community grant support program, where community youth groups, they can access grants within the Division of Youth from the Ministry of Youth and Sports to do work within their community. Again, we don't do cash grants, but what we do is you present your concept note, you present your project idea, etc., and you present it together with your invoices, and we pay all your vendors for you. So that you can do that particular project within your community. So we're excited about that. But before I go again, I also want to talk about summer program. In August, we had our annual summer program. This year, we termed it Camp Flame, and the idea was to fuel learning, adventure, and meaningful experience within our young participants. We catered for persons between the ages of 7 to 16, and we had over 500 persons involved in that summer program throughout the island of Grenada. Unfortunately, because of Hurricane Beryl, we had to reduce the time. We had 3 weeks planned, but we had to do 2 weeks, and of course, Carriacou wasn't involved this year because of what happened. But in Grenada itself, we had close to over 500 persons involved in that particular program. They were engaged in activities such as football, basketball, karate, netball, tennis, table tennis, learning how to make body butters, learning how to make oils, pastry making, a number of different activities they were engaged in. And it was just a tremendous sight to see all of them gathered in the youth center, showcasing what they would have done over the 2 weeks. And we are looking forward to next year again. Our target for next year is 700 young people or more to be involved in this particular program. It was just a phenomenal sight to see our young people engaged for 2 full weeks, learning and engaging, networking, and just having a really fun time in that space and learning skills that they can transfer into entrepreneurship values later on if they decide to do so.
All right. Okay, youth development is pivotal for any country growth right now, and when, of course, the Ministry of Youth and other youth programs comes around and you get the participation of young people, you see that be an upward projection, especially when it comes to young people.
But just not a cut there, but I just think listening to Ms. Perryman and what you reported on that, and I said if we may have to start implementing some of them leadership workshop for athletes or sportsmen. So true. We may have to cross-section and even implement some of the workshop and maybe on stress management and conduct and discipline, because because the athletes are part of that age group category, and most time so maybe have to cause some of the problem we have seen in some of the games. We may definitely have to see through. It seems like youth is very good at the workshop. The how we could implement some for athletes, because
they could be incorporated.
They could incorporate it, and even some of some of the empowerment program too. They could be part of that. Collaboration and such. Yeah. So
sometimes we hear so much happening with youth, and sometimes we don't hear so much happening with youth. Because all of these things that you mentioned, sometimes individuals are not even aware that some of these activities are even taking place. You understand? And it's all geared towards development of young people in general.
Yeah. And youth is a spectrum, because everything that, let's say, Mr. Peters does, that youth they're the ones that are involved in a lot of the programs within sports. So we need to stop just thinking about youth, the division of youth, and think about it as it being not a monolith, but it's a spectrum. It's everybody's involved. We have partners throughout Grenada. We talk about the community youth-led organizations. We talk about the church. We talk about our NGOs, our CSOs, etc. A lot of their work involve youth work, and we're offering support as much as we can to all our various stakeholders in that regard. I also want to mention that we do have our social care unit again, as Mr. Peters would have mentioned. Some of the psychological supports as some of the athletes have been facing. Within our social care unit, we offer psychosocial support for young participants within our programs, and we are looking as well to see how we can extend that to offer some more support to our young persons who are calling, who are asking for support in that area. So again, there is collaboration, and there is need for more collaboration with various stakeholders, because the division of youth cannot do it all where youth is concerned.
That's where improved communication comes
because
to play.
as you see, sometimes the behavior is just cried for help, and we see it as that sometimes you just need someone to talk to, and they get the opportunity through these sports to to show it off. So we have to.
We have approximately just about 5 more minutes left for the program. The phones are being going. If anyone has a question or two like to ask before we get some other closing contributions from you both this morning, anyone of listeners and viewers out there have a question or two you may like to ask, feel free to do it in this segment. 435-2041. You have the option also of calling via the WhatsApp 435-2041. You can do so in this segment. Let's entertain this caller. Caller, good morning, and you're live. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell young people in Grenada to probably pants and have some respect and discipline and have some contact with yourself. Young people walking on the style, pants on the bama, and pants exposed about in church, in school, about the road, and they walking with no pride in it. Black people is class people, with high people. Tell them probably pants, please.
All right, caller, thank you. Thank you so much. 435-2041, 435-2041. So look at accommodate a couple more calls. You also have the option of calling in via the WhatsApp. If you do have that question or two you may like to ask my guest this morning, and certainly show once it's within the range of the conversation, they certainly will be able to answer. Anything further as we await the calls? Anything further we may have not mentioned this morning that should have been highlighted that you would like to talk about?
I also want to say that we are currently preparing for our National Youth Ambassadors. We have about 80 young persons who will be representing us in Grenada as National Youth Ambassadors throughout the Tri-Island state. We're excited about that. They, again, will be doing a lot of community-based work within their parishes, and we do have grant support for them to do some of their work as well, so that they can, be active within their communities, represent the young persons within their communities and offer support where they can, as well as role models. But that you would have to invite me back on to get some more details.
Sure, you are certainly invited to come. The invitation is certainly open for you to come back anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Peters, anything that we may have missed in terms of of course,
remember
something is that we may have missed that you didn't mention?
No, the primary school, I just want to highlight that the primary school
go right ahead, please.
Cricket Festival will be at Progress Park this Friday from 10 a.m. So the primary school cricket festival, the finals at Progress Park this Friday. All right. So come out and support that. And remember, Saturday we at La Sagesse for the cross country, the Blue Bubbles annual cross country, and there's Stormont football in your parish, you will go out and support the teams. They start at 3 p.m. so you could finish work for 4 and still see the second half of the game.
All right, great.
So let's see.
Great. Well, it's all just about 2 minutes after 10 o'clock this morning, which means it's about wrapping up time for us for the program for today. Anything in closing you may want to highlight before we take a wrap? Anything in closing? Now we have covered mostly everything. And just get some closing contributions from you.
At the Division of Youth, our end, we just want to thank the public for all your support thus far in our program. We want to encourage young people to participate in the programs. We want you to encourage young people that you know to participate in the various programs that I would have mentioned. We want to encourage you to visit our Facebook and our Instagram page. We post all our programs, all our projects there as well. Communicate with us, ask us questions, let us know what it is that you want us to do in regards to if you have a program idea, you have a project idea. We are definitely willing to entertain those as well, especially as we work towards developing our ideas for 2025. Our Instagram page is MOYGND. Our Facebook page, Ministry of Youth and Sports, and our telephone number 440-6917. I want to also encourage persons to come out to the leadership workshop. I think that is going to be an amazing experience, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. And please, please, please register to vote if you're within the ages of 16 to 35 for the National Youth Election. Be a part of history, as this is an inaugural program. Be a part of history and come out and vote and support the candidates within your constituency. And we look forward to having a really, really good National Youth Parliament program where young people can definitely be the voices for their young persons within their various communities.
All right, great. Sabinas, anything in closing?
I want to say by saying thank you to all the stakeholders, all the sponsors that came on board to make sure that our competition will be a success. We want to thank the public, and we want to show gratitude to our athletes that continue training, and to the nation for the support and love sent to our athletes that competing all over. We know that right now the Netball Association have a team off, the Volleyball Association are preparing to go off with both male and female. So there's a lot happening, and we just need the support of the public, and want to say both in coming out and support and on all the words of kindness and that they are shared to the athletes to give them that motivation to continue.
All right, thanks. I want to thank you both for coming on the program this morning and sharing the relative information that you did. Of course, I know there are, of course, lots of the listeners and viewers who may have learned a lot in terms of the activities coming up, the calendar of sporting events, information that was shared from the Ministry of Youth also, and I'm certainly sure they will come on and vote. Once you were to the age range. Once you were to the age range. And, they could also have the option of sharing some advice to the candidates who may approach them from time to time, because that is up to
I'm also asking them to treat our candidates well. Treat them well, treat them with respect. They are new to this, they are young. Please, we do not want to have any abuse of our candidates while they go there campaigning.
All right. Although it's songs as the election is a different form of it too.
Yeah.
Form of it to a point. Once again, I want to thank you both, and it was a pleasure having you on the program this morning. Best wishes goes out to both of you for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 18th of September. Join me tomorrow for another edition. Have yourself a good one, folks. That's why I say goodbye.